So Matt and I actually talk about this a lot because I think since we've started this, it's like people have come out of the woodwork of like wanting to write a book or do whatever. And I always tell them like there's no guidebook to this. Like Matt and I didn't know what we were doing and we're still figuring it out. We've been very fortunate with the success we've had and the coverage we've had. But someone I know is actually wanting to write also fantasy, and he's been struggling with this story for over a year. And so finally, I kind of got a little slightly annoyed that he kept coming up to me like, "Oh, I'm still struggling." I'm like, "You're obviously not writing about anything that you love if you're still struggling about this." And he was like, "I never thought about that." I was like, "Yes."
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I think it's the same probably with Matt with illustrations.
Yeah, I mean, I would say if it's not a hobby, you should be treating it like one. And carve out time, even if you're just if I guess the way I think of it is if I'm like swamped with work and I know I have to do these illustrations, I just think of it as like, oh, just it's like an activity to do. Carve out time and make it a routine in your week or something. Because I think that's just like the best way to actually commit to it and yeah, take it from there.
I actually had
It's a
an
stress relief too. It's like a creative outlet for me. I think this obviously the same for you, Brant. And it's a good way to distract yourself from the rest of the real world.
Yeah, I actually had a successful children's book author also give me advice when I first started, and she just said, enjoy this time now when you're not beholden to, like, for example, when the books make it bigger, to not be beholden to a lot of other people. So to enjoy this time and let your creativity flow. Because I think it was Elizabeth Gilbert who wrote You Pray Love, and she said, never give your writing or their books the stress of paying your bills.
Mm,
That's And
good.
so, so because she says, I'll hear someone who writes a screenplay and they quit their job. She's like, because they're hoping to sell the screenplay. So, Matt and I have been doing this for a couple years. We're actually talking with production companies also about adapting them maybe.
Yeah.
And they even tell us the same advice. They're like, people don't realize from the time something's on screen to then it's like years of development. And so I think it's about just being also content with the process.
Yeah.
And I think entrepreneurship has taught us both that, just being content with the process and not being so overwhelmed by the big picture that details of the success, basically.